Hi there, back again to do another little ramble about INFJ stuff. And I've been wanting to make this video I've had these thoughts going on for the past week or two. And I woke up this morning and decided that today's the day. The train agrees to um, talk about these thoughts that are in my head. So they're very nebulous, so this could be kind of a ramble. Apologize, but if I had to give this video a title, say it's going to be something like INFJ, A Hero's Journey, or something like INFJ, um, Uncovering the um, INFJ Superpower Within, or something like that. Wow, that train is just tooting. Anyway, I think more so than any other personality type, INFJ is supposed to really understand itself. And like I said in the last video, the INFJ type, it's like hard for us to look in a mirror and see ourselves and feel like a sense of identity, personality. Like the idea of the self is so weird to an INFJ. And I think that's because INFJ, because we have like that extroverted feeling, we're so in tune to others in the outside world and the feelings and the energies associated, that we're so sensitive to that it all blurs together, and sometimes we can lose a sense of identity in that. So it is natural for the INFJ to be selfless. That's why you have like the famous list of INFJs. You have like Jesus and Gandhi and all these like really humanitarian figures, because that's the INFJ nature. It's naturally to be selfless and to want to do good for others and to want to feel others being lifted up. And through that, sometimes we lose a sense of identity. And I think that's a huge challenge for INFJs, is to fight that constant need to be like, oh, I gotta be doing more for other people, or I gotta be, what are these people gonna think, or what are they gonna think, or needing to do these other things, needing to give of ourselves to others. And sometimes that causes a huge confliction when there's this pull, I think this natural pull of every INFJ towards maybe solitude, in the fact of like going within, having, I guess really the literal solitude is what's required in order for us to be able to look within, be able to focus more inwardly. Because you often read that INFJs are big picture thinkers, and oftentimes our viewpoints, our perspectives are in stark contrast to maybe the status quo or the way things are. And that's the beauty of INFJs. INFJ are these thinkers and these innovators and these these people who are on the leading edge in thought, in understanding, and are seeing things that are beyond the everyday, you could say. Man, planes, trains, automobiles, all sorts of everything today. And so it's very important for us to recognize and honor our individuality. I think that is actually a life mission for INFJ, is to, because I think for a lot of INFJ, we have the opposite problem sometimes of what the majority of people, I think, face. I think the majority of people sometimes could benefit from maybe identifying less with their ego per se. And for an INFJ, I feel like sometimes we need to boost our ego up. We need to find more sense of strength and identity with self, because I think we can get very nebulous inside. And I think that through that journey, through that discovery, that's when an INFJ like finds their superpower. That's when an INFJ finds their thing. That's when an INFJ finds their passion. Because every INFJ has something, a hidden treasure, a something unique and special that they offer the world. And it's only through, like I said earlier, it's often, and those things are often kind of in contrast to the norm and the everyday. So it often requires an INFJ to step away from the world and the influences of the world and find their own thing, because it is so unique and it is in contrast that it's only going to be uncovered. That treasure is only going to be discovered by the INFJ who seeks to truly, understand themselves, connect with themselves, find their passion, spend time away in solitude, break away from the crowd sometimes. Like, look at Jesus. He disappeared for, there's no recollection of him at all from until he's like 30 years old. That's when the New Testament, that's when like Jesus's story really kind of starts. After we see him being born, and then he kind of just ghosts, he disappears, he vanishes. And then even in the New Testament, it talks about Jesus going into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights and fasting. Like he like went out on his like hero's journey, his spiritual voyage, you know what I'm saying? And so we have to do that in our own ways. We have to do our 40 days and 40 nights sometimes, metaphorically. We have to break away from the crowd and get in our space and get in our own space where the energies of the outside world and of other people and our need to help them we can set that aside and focus on our own self, our own individuality, and make peace with it and discover it and come to know it and be it and enhance it and let it enhance you. And I think that's when we can really get in our flow and we can really tap into our purposes for being here, because we all have something so unique to share. But I think for the INFJ, it's like we have to go real hard to get to the root of it. We have to really practice the self-love. We have to practice the same kind of love we so desperately feel like we always need to be giving to others. We have to turn that inwardly as well. And when we do that, and when we honor this beautiful inner world that we have, and these inspirations come, the INFJ well of creativity just unlocks. And I think that's when we can really step in our flow. And once we do that, then we're also boosted up in our confidence and in our sense of self. And when we're doing that, we're less likely to be caught in this like, oh, but what will other people think? What do I need to do for other people? And it's more like we are more focused on like living out our inspiration and our creation. And the byproduct is that it will be beneficial to other people. The need to provide benefit just comes naturally out of whatever it is that we do when we make contact with that space. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I hope that was helpful. It was definitely a ramble, but I just was hoping that this video would be kind of maybe like encouraging in some way. So I hope that it is encouraging, because that's kind of like a huge lesson that I've been going through, is like, stepping away from the world and letting it be okay, and being almost kind of unapologetic for being unique in that way. Most people need to be connected to the world all the time. It's like what they need, especially like extroverts and stuff, so it sometimes is going in the face of the norm to kind of step away and be allow yourself to have the space to make contact with that inner INFJ superpower, you could say, and it just makes things good. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate all of the like thumbs up and stuff from my last video. That just feels good to know that people relate, and INFJs were out there just being total weirdos. So be your weird self. It rocks. And that's all. All right. Thanks so much.